All right, if you're learning German, I bet you've tried to say I like you at some point, and I'm also willing to bet you've stumbled into a little grammar trap that gets almost everyone. Well, today we're going to solve that puzzle for good.
So you might think, okay, simple. I'll just say ich mag du. I mean, I is ich, like is mag, and you is du. It seems totally logical, right? Except it's wrong, and we're about to dive into exactly why.
And here it is, right here, side by side, the classic mistake next to the correct phrase. You see that? Just one little word changes from do to ditch, and it makes all the difference in the world. This is the secret to sounding way more natural.
Okay, so let's finally solve this thing. This is a super common German puzzle, and it's all about unpacking the grammar behind the verb mögen, which means to like.
The secret here is something called grammatical case. Now, I know, that sounds super technical and maybe a little intimidating, but don't worry, it's just a fancy way of saying that words in German sometimes change their clothes depending on the job they're doing in a sentence, and that's exactly what's going on here.
Let's break it down even simpler. It's really just about the subject versus the object. In any sentence, you've got someone who's doing the action and someone who's receiving that action. So the big question is, who is doing the liking and who is being liked? And that question brings us to our star player for today, the accusative case. Think of it as the special case that's reserved for the direct object. That's the person or the thing that directly receives the action of the verb. In our sentence, it's the person who is being liked.
So let's look at our correct sentence again. Ich mag dich. First, we've got ich. That's I. I'm the one doing the action, right? I'm doing the liking. That makes me the subject. Simple enough.
And now for the big reveal. You are the one receiving the liking. You're the object of my affection, to put it grammatically. And because you're the direct object, you have to be in the accusative case. And guess what? The accusative form of du is dich. And that right there is the entire reason ich mag du just doesn't work.
Okay, now that you get the why, let's get you set up with the how. It's time to build your personal pronoun toolkit so you can get this right every single time.
And you know what? I've got some great news. You do not have to memorize a whole new dictionary of pronouns. Not at all. In fact, only 5 of them change their form when they're the object. Just 5. So let's focus on those.
So, here they are, the 5 key changes you gotta remember. When ich is the object, it becomes mich. Our friend du becomes dich. Er becomes ihn. Wer turns into uns, and ihr turns into euch. If you can lock these 5 into your brain, you have basically cracked the code.
Feeling a little better? You really should, because you've just learned the hardest part. The rest of the pronouns actually make life way easier because, well, they don't change at all.
And here they are. She, it, they, and the formal you all keep the exact same form, whether they're doing the action or receiving it. So, ich mag sie could mean I like her, I like them, or I like you formally. The context of the conversation tells you which one it is. See? Easy.
Okay, I get it. This grammar stuff can still feel a bit abstract. So let's use a really simple analogy to make this whole concept stick in your head for good. Let's call it grammar on stage.
This is honestly a brilliant way to picture it. Just imagine your sentence is a little play. The words are your actors, and the grammatical case tells them what role they're playing and which costume or mask they need to wear.
So in our little play, the subject gets to wear the doer mask. The official name for this role, by the way, is the nominative case. In our example, ich is the doer, the star of the show who kicks off the action.
And this is where it all clicks. The direct object, the one who's just chilling out and having the action done to them, has to wear the receiver mask. The verb mögen needs a receiver, so the word you has to put on its dich mask. It simply can't wear its do mask because that one is reserved for the star of the show, the doer.
All right, let's wrap this all up with the most important stuff. Here's your big takeaway for using mögen and sounding like you know what you're doing. Here's the bottom line. Whenever someone is receiving the action of being liked, you have to use that accusative form. Just keep this cheat sheet in mind. Focus on these 5 changes: mich, dich, ihn, uns, and euch. Master these, and you'll nail it every time.
So you've just unlocked a really fundamental piece of German grammar. You get it now. You know exactly why it's ich mag dich. But here's a little something to think about. Mögen is just one of tons of verbs that needs a receiver. So now that you know the rule, what other verbs do you think follow it? To see someone,
to hear someone, to have something, you're ready to start using them correctly today.